All right, we'll go ahead and get started. First off, thank you guys all for attending today's session. A couple of reminders before we get started. Please leave your microphones and your cameras off during today's presentation. Also, if you have questions, please type them in the chat box and I'll relay them to our presenter at the end of today's presentation. Also, if you need a certificate of completion, please email Marilyn and she will get that out to you. One last thing, Julie will be able to share the PowerPoint, so we will get that sent out to you after. It'll be sent to you in the email with the survey, I believe. So be checking for that. And along with the survey, please fill that out. It just takes a couple minutes. We like any feedback, all comments are welcome. That way we can continue to provide productive trainings in the future for all of you. So with that, I will turn it over to Julie.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. It's good to not really see everybody, but to be reaching out to you. I'm Julie Landseedel, family nurse practitioner, and we're going to talk a little bit about thriving and surviving the holidays. And really, probably the biggest thing I'm going to talk about is self-care. We have to take care of ourselves to kind of survive kind of what's going on in the world, if you want to call that. So I am a family nurse practitioner, live here in Bismarck, North Dakota. And I do appreciate the honor of you guys asking me to talk again. I have spoken with you a few times, and I do appreciate being asked because I do like to talk about health, options of wellness, and just educating people that there are options out there in the world. And that is actually what STEP stands for. It is success through empowering people in wellness. And so we can chat at the end, any questions anybody has. I do live in, like I said, in Bismarck, North Dakota, graduated for U of Mary twice, went there several times. I was active duty Air Force, so I am a veteran. Married for 25 years this year, which is fabulous. Have 3 kids and 1 son-in-law. So it's been quite the wonderful life that I have to say. And I just came running in from body pump. So I am a certified Les Mills body pump instructor. I just got out of class, ran home quick. So if you think I'm glowing a bit, it could be just a little bit of sweat happening. So that's what it is. So thank you for letting me share with you today. Services that I offer at STEP Wellness, I just wanted to let you know that I do a lot of corporate wellness education, weight management. I'll talk about a class that I have starting here, kind of surviving the holidays. Sports physicals, vitamin D testing, food sensitivity testing, lots of customized supplementation, what people are looking for, whether it be getting off of medications or whether it be combating side effects of medications. And then I do some skin therapy, microneedle collagen induction therapy, which I love, non-invasive. So some of the things that I offer at STEP Wellness, and I'll talk about free consults that I do at the end. So let's get into a little bit about the holidays and what we expect from what we think from the holidays. It's going to be all pretty. We're all going to sit and watch Christmas shows and everything is going to be happy and families going to get along and all this stuff is going to happen, like the Hallmark shows that we watch on TV. The reality is that's generally far from what the actual reality is that happens. And it's probably, again, never been more true because we've all been in this chronic stress for several years now. And it's just, it seems to always get worse at the holidays, that even if you can maintain during the rest of the year, holidays kind of seem to take this toll on us, whether it be shopping, whether it be, well, we just got our first snow. So those of you who live in Bismarck, you know, the snow, I think within 3 minutes of it snowing yesterday, there was accidents all over Bismarck. Adds to the stress. Children, a little bit too much overindulging, which may be food or drink. None of those things really help us in the long run, things like that. And then, you know, there's Christmas, the bills, that people spending more money than we really have, overindulging in things like that. And then at the end of December, then we hit tax season, which to me always seems to increase my anxiety in that area too. Nothing like watching a good elf show to make you laugh, but it is a reality. Is that what has happened? And then January comes, and this is a lot of times where I see people, they come in January and they're like, help me. Like no one's, you know, they haven't taken care of themselves. And we end up in this opposite thing. And it's not necessarily about weight. It's just, how do you feel in life? People are exhausted physically, financially, emotionally, all of the above. And so what are some causes of stress during the holiday season? Well, many reasons. Money is one of them. There's too many things going on, and that we just are too busy to even fit things in that we actually even enjoy. Unrealistic expectations is a big one. Whether it come from financial, again, what expectations of gifts, or just having everything supposedly to be perfect. Not that I don't even know what that means really, but that's just not a realistic expectation. Traffic, like I said, depending where you live, it could be the snow, crowds, family conflict. That's a big one. I can relate to that one as well. You roll into the holidays where you're supposed to see people more frequently between those holiday, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And sometimes that brings more anxiety than joy. And so as it kind of goes on, this stress level just keeps building and building and building. For people, there are people who are alone for the holidays, and this may be a good or a bad thing. But if you're alone for the holidays, so those who, may not have family around them in the same town, etc., make sure you still get in the spirit. Make sure you put up decorations, cook a meal, hang out with some friends if you have, take an invitation to dinner with other people. And this also goes, invites people over for dinner. Because I always think that, we think about sometimes just family, but what about the rest of the people in the world that could use, a warm home or a family situation during the holiday season. So just remember, don't hibernate over the holidays. Make encounter with some people, whether it be family, friends, whatever it may be. So don't let holiday stress get in the way of your holiday. The thing is, we would still want to enjoy the holidays. And again, chronic stress has been a big thing. Our bodies are meant to have normal stress, and stress can actually be a good thing. Stress helps us get through the day. It helps us meet goals. You want to run a marathon, you're speaking in front of someone, you're playing basketball, your kids are in a basketball tournament. Those are all normal stresses that help move us forward. Chronic stress, we can do that acute stress, we can do that for a little bit, but we're not meant to be in chronic stress forever. And I could talk about it a whole hour just on that, how cortisol levels are increased and how people are sleeping less because of chronic stress. Weight gain then happens because stress-induced weight gain. And we're just we're already kind of encountering that from the past 2.5 years. And now we're moving into a holiday season again. So here's some common signs of stress: people being irritable or angry, mood swings, physical pain is a real thing, whether it be headaches, stomach aches, just overall not feeling well. I see that a lot in my office. People worrying about the future is a big one. Anxiety, people being sad, not wanting to be out in public, be with other people. Appetite can change. It could be loss of appetite, or it could be increase of appetite. Some people are stress eaters. Depression, sleep issues is a big thing with stress. It is so prevalent. Concentrating, fatigue, just feeling overwhelmed, or really feeling nothing at all is another one that can be. So there's so many things that stress encompasses. I'll teach you or share some things on how to manage stress. This is ways not to manage holiday stress. Just know it can lead to unhealthy behaviors when we are stressed. So avoid unhealthy stress management, such as stress eating, smoking, drugs, or alcohol. Alcohol or drugs, managing stress is never going to have a good ending for that. We really do need to learn some coping mechanisms that are not as harmful to our body, and then address those issues. Don't shoulder the burden of stress on your own. Talk to loved ones, and don't ignore stress. And I have to say, see a counselor. I'm just going to tell you, I'm just going to be very blunt about this, very open, that don't hesitate to see a counselor or a trauma therapist. And I know that it's difficult, especially speaking with the group of providers or people in the community who are helping others. Sometimes it's hard to find someone to talk to, and I do completely understand that, but it's so very important. I personally see a trauma therapist in Moorhead because I know everybody in Bismarck, North Dakota. And so I went out of my circle to find someone to help me through some stress issues that I have in my life. And I encourage you to do the same if you feel that would be beneficial. If you're ever wondering like who you see Where can I go? Feel free to send me a private message and I can give you a recommendation that's not maybe in the local area of where you live. This is a very big topic of provider stress and I was going to say like emergency medicine people stress. I mean, firefighters, caregivers, things like that, because we know everybody. And there's such a stigma with seeing a counselor. And so again, I strongly encourage that to happen if you feel the need to talk to somebody and finding somebody. I put this in here because some people had commented on this last year. And so one of the things over the holiday season, a lot of times is Christmas cards, but I hear from so many people how stressed out they get about the Christmas card. So the thing is maybe just not doing a Christmas card, sending a digital card. People text all the time, make a digital Christmas card and send it, or maybe just don't send one at all. Send some text messages to your friends, etc. Don't add something that's going to cause more stress into your life. This is kind of our typical Landseedle Christmas card. No one's paying attention anyway. And so just now, if you love Christmas cards, please continue sending them. But if it's something that's causing you increased stress in your already busy life, maybe it's something to take a step back. And I did hear several people make comments on this, and they really thought about it differently, because the key is, again, taking care of yourself, self-care for you. So a simple word to stop the chaos. So let's talk about some ways to survive the holiday season, but really these are for all the time. I don't know if there's anything specific to just the holiday season other than maybe the excessive spending that we do on gifts, things like that, or the expectation that we're going to be together more frequently with family, things like that. But really, we do need to take care of ourselves all the time. And the biggest thing is to consider what is in our control, because there's a lot of things that are not in our control, but there are things that are in our control. So things such as what you eat. I've always been an advocate of food, supplementation, exercise, and I feel in the year 2022, we are to the point you cannot ignore taking care of yourself. Like you cannot. There are so many things happening in the world. The stress has become more than a lot of people can handle. We can't keep doing that. We do have to take care of ourselves. And I know we've heard this for years. You got to eat better. You got to move. You got to do this. But the reality is there is no magic pill for anything. We have to take care of ourselves. So again, exercise, hydration, drinking enough water, supplementation. I'll talk about that. How you think, how you feel, you have to sleep. And remember, all of these things matter. It's not just one thing, it's putting these all together. I'll start a little bit with food. I just want to put this in your brain a little bit over the holiday season and beyond, that for one, you have to eat. So a lot of times people will starve during the days and then they'll save their calories or whatever it is because they're going to a holiday party or something. Please don't do that. You are setting yourself up for your blood sugar going up and down, and you're setting yourself up for body fat storage and fatigue and all of this. So that when you're not feeling good over the holidays, and as we move into January, then you're coming to see me with Help Me. And it's this, if we just look at what can we do every day, you're going to feel so much better during the holiday season. So just remember, we want to eat frequently, every 3 to 4 hours, remembering that protein and fiber at every meal is going to be very beneficial. Increase your fiber as much as possible. We want to keep in the blue zone, the 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. That is when our blood sugar is stable. That's the fat burning zone. That's when we have the most energy. That's where we are being the most effective. Our metabolic health is good. If we're going to eat high glycemic foods, and glycemic means what actually impacts your blood sugar. So if we're eating foods, such as lots of breads, lots of grains, the cupcakes, the cookies, it's all starting with the holiday season. That's when we're going to spike our blood sugar, and then we're going to drop into the 5 zone. And the 5 zone is where we're tired and fatigued and crabby. But that's also where body fat storage happens. So we don't want that to happen. So if we just think in our heads, eat more frequently, remember protein and fiber at every meal. This will move you through the holidays with much more success. As you hit January, you're going to feel better eating more frequently. I'm not going to go in depth of this, but you can absolutely screenshot this, because most people do not get enough protein. This is a big thing. For one, most people aren't eating too much. They're eating too little and too infrequently. So which stores body fat, but we're also not getting enough protein. So this is a way to figure out how to get enough protein in your diet. And I take this seriously, please, because these are very important. These are the little steps that are going to help you. So you're just going to take your weight in pounds and you're going to divide it by 2.2, which gives you your weight in kilograms. And that weight in kilograms, you're going to take it times 1.2. I mean, it depends. Actually, if you want your minimum intake would be, you're going to take it times 0.8. That'll give you how many grams of protein per day. So when you're reading labels, such as for a shake, or when you're reading a bar or whatever you're eating, so that you are getting at least that much protein per day. Very, very beneficial. And then also if you're looking for weight loss or if you're looking for muscle gain, it'll tell you which one. So screenshot this, make sure that you're getting enough. We need at least 25 to 50 grams of protein per serving. And just you can kind of see for men and women, you don't have to, measure things or weigh things like chicken. I always say go by your palm size, but just remember protein and fiber at every meal. So you can figure out for yourself how much protein you need in your diet. And I encourage you to do this. Again, this will be one step ahead for you. Also with fiber, we want to make sure we get enough fiber in, 25 to 35 grams of fiber per day. Fiber is what's going to help keep us full. It's going to help our digestive tract work better. It's going to keep our bowel movements going, because because nothing like being bloated and not feeling good. That's never good. And fiber is actually what helps keep the glycemic impact. And so that's a whole nother topic of classes that I do of how, like, the number one way to decrease the impact of sugars or unhealthy foods on our body and the blood sugar is to increase our fiber. So if you can just think, every time I'm going to an event, if we're having, a Christmas dinner, if we're having extra food at work, always have extra fiber, because that's going to decrease the impact on your body of any unhealthy sugars or foods that you take in. So get enough fiber every day for that to happen. Here's just some different things on foods to help. There's all kinds of things on here, but one is set realistic goals. This is not necessarily the time, again, over the holidays when you're stressed out, that you're going to maybe lose 50 pounds. The goal really should be 0 pounds challenge of no weight gain, because the average person gains 7 to 10 pounds over the holidays. I actually am running a class, and I'll share that at the end, that I'm doing. It's basically, it's just no weight gain. We're going to maintain through the holidays and keep each other accountable. So set realistic goals for that to happen. Bring snacks along with you, low glycemic snacks, foods, proteins, fibers, fruits, vegetables, wherever you go. Keep them in your purse, keep them at work, keep them in your bag, take them to the gym, keep them in your car. So if you have if you need food along the way, you're not tempted to drive through the drive-through. If you can't avoid snacks in the break room at work, that's a big one. When I worked in the ER, I'm telling you, and it's a beautiful thing, people want to share during the holidays, and they're giving gifts, but a lot of times those gifts are high sugar, no fiber, and not necessarily the best for us. So if you can avoid snacks in the break room, but if you're going to have them, increase your fiber ahead of time so you can blunt the glycemic impact. If you're going to go to a holiday party, make sure you eat beforehand. Don't go starving. Don't ever go starving to an event. I don't even care if it's Christmas dinner. Have something so that you're not, when you walk in, that you have control of what you're eating. You want that blood sugar stable. I always have a protein and fiber shake before going even out to dinner at a restaurant, so I can make better choices, and that protein and fiber will help me with my glycemic impact. Avoid drinks mixed with soda and juices, having club soda, not having anything that has extra sugar in there is going to be really, really big. Kind of avoiding all those extra things. So if you're going to have alcohol, there's better choices. A Bloody Mary is a good choice. Something mixed with water is going to be a good choice. If you're having a potluck, make sure you bring a healthy dish, because if you go to a potluck and there's nobody brings anything healthy, then you're like, well, I had to eat something bad because there was no options. You bring that healthy dish so that even if there is nothing else there, you can eat that dish. And that has happened frequently to me. However, what you may find out is that healthy dish you bring, maybe the first dish gone at the event, because you may not be the only one looking for a healthy dish. So be the person who comes in with health. I mean, you don't have to walk and say, I got the health food. You just set it down. People are looking for health without actually saying it. So be one of those people and make sleep a priority is a big one. And just be aware of emotional eating. I always say, if you want to have the cake or the monster cookie, have it, if that's your choice to do it. But the mindless kind of eating that you get to the end of the day and you're like, I don't even know what I ate today and I'm still hungry, but yet I feel bloated. That's not what I want. If you're like, I want to eat this monster cookie that my grandma made from homemade, that's a great thing to do. One thing that I always think about is that if I'm going to eat a dessert, I would choose the homemade ones over the ones that are bought at a store, because that is probably a cleaner product, a healthier product. And I appreciate the homemadeness of that. So if you even just kind of look at that, only eat homemade desserts, not ones that were bought in a store. Do not skip meals and keep exercising. Just keep moving, plugging along and getting these things into your day. This is a class that I'm actually running. It starts this Sunday. We're going to be health through the holidays, surviving the holidays. And it's going to be 5 weeks. We're going to do it via Zoom, check in on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. So we still have time to join. So if anybody is interested, you can send me a message at the end. We probably have about 11 people so far right now joining. And it's just, again, if you have some goals of weight loss, that's great. Or metabolic health, that's great. Cholesterol coming down. But sometimes we just need support to make it through the holidays. And that's what we're here for. Number 2 is exercise. So exercise of any kind helps boost and support the immune system. It's also a great tool for managing anxiety and stress and will help you pass time throughout the day. I cannot say enough how exercise is such a mental health therapy for me and for so many. And I feel like exercise is one of the most underutilized prescriptions, which really isn't a prescription for mental health, stress, anxiety. When I just can't speak it enough. So I teach body pump and I thoroughly enjoy it. I want to know anybody in Bismarck, if you live in the local area, if you'd ever like to come to a class with me as my guest, no cost to you, please let me know. I teach at Verge. And so just send me a private message and you can come to a class and just try it out and see if you like it. And just kind of move. So just knowing exercise is super important. Benefits are it helps our muscle mass, helps our cardiovascular, our circulatory system. It helps our immune health. It reduces stress. And I just had I was speaking in North Carolina a couple weekends ago, and I had a big presentation. I had 4 of them on my plate. I was a bit stressed the week before, and I actually one night at 5 o'clock, I'm like, I got to go work out. And so I got dressed and went to the gym and took Kathy Kruckenberg had her body pump class. I went to class, came back home, felt so much better. It is really worth taking that time for yourself, whether it be, doing planking for a minute or doing YouTube videos of exercise, or if you belong to a gym, if you go walking. It doesn't matter what you do. We just need to do something. It'll also help, burning fat. It helps our mood, energy, and we're all sitting at computers a lot more these days. It literally helps everything overall. Very underutilized. Many types of exercise. You just have to fit it in. Whatever you like, do it. I love body pump, muscle type of things. If you made me do yoga, I think I would not exercise. I don't know. Do what you like to do. Yoga is fabulous for stretching, flexibility, all those things. I just happen to like weight and resistance training better. Or if you like cardiovascular, it doesn't matter where you start. I just want you to start. If you're looking for some information, if you have no information on exercising and where to start, you can go to my website, stepintotls.com. Under resources, there is a fitness download. It has some basic 10-minute exercises, 10-minute workouts that you can do. Grab a buddy and do them together. Grab someone in your household or grab a friend and do them together, but just keep moving daily. Now, I just want to, I'm going to talk about some supplementation, but I just want you to know that there's no supplement at all that can replace a healthy diet, sleep, and exercise. The thing is, though, foods are different than they used to be. They're not as nutritious. We're not always eating the best. We're not necessarily sleeping the best, and we may not actually be, physically active for whatever the reason may be. So we do need to look in why supplementation would be important. So I have shared this in a previous one, but I just wanted to share it again because, and again, screenshot this, please. This is probably my number one slide, is that it's from the physician's desk reference, and it's that drugs that gobble vitamins. Because a lot of people will say, well, I eat fairly good, or I eat pretty good. I don't need supplementation. The thing is, daily things that we do, and I'm not even talking about stress, I'm just things that we take on a daily basis, such as antacids for reflux, antidepressants, anti-inflammatories, cholesterol medications, blood pressure medications. These all deplete nutrients from our body. That's just part of the process of them being metabolized and how they work in our system for the absorption. They utilize nutrients in our system for them to work. So even if you just start by taking supplementation to combat medications or over-the-counter medications or just over-the-counter drugs that you take just to combat that would be a good thing. If you look on the left side, that's common prescriptions or over-the-counter medications that people take, and you can look at how frequently vitamin B is depleted from them. Vitamin B is probably one of the number one depleted nutrients from prescription or drugs at overall. And so no matter what you're taking, so if you can relate to any of this, or you have family members on a lot of prescriptions, just start by looking at something like this and replenish what is being depleted in their system. You're going to be one step ahead. So let's talk a little bit about stress and sleep. Stress and sleeplessness is a huge concern. Nearly 8 in 10 adults say there is a source of significant stress in their life. 2 in 3 adults say stress they experience is increasing. It's not going away. And I would say that's probably a very true statement. And nearly half of adults report their stress has impacted their health and relationships. People don't feel good. They get angry quicker. Relationships are breaking down. There's mood swings. I guess I can't speak if divorce is up, but I do know that there's a lot of increased difficulty in family relationships in the world. I mean, I've heard it, I see it. My office is inside of the Kids Therapy Center in Bismarck, my step wellness office. So I hear a lot about family dynamics that happen. It's a very unfortunate thing. And a lot of that comes from ongoing stress. And a lot of people do blame the lack of sleep. And lack of sleep could be also because of stress, but could also be where you work. My middle child, Landon, is a nurse in an ICU, works night shift. And I remember those days of working night shifts. So if anybody's on here who works night shift, I empathize with you. You can't necessarily quit your job. I mean, I always say, Landon, you have to get on the day shift. And he's like, I just can't quit my job, Mom. And I know I couldn't have done the same thing. So we have to look at what we can do for that. So, when we have ongoing stress, what happens is our cortisol levels go up. And cortisol levels basically prevent us from sleeping good. And what it also does is it holds on to body fat, visceral fat mostly, and being in kind of the belly, I'm rubbing my belly, but the belly and hip area, very, very big. Also, when those cortisol levels are up with the stress, our immune function goes down. So people who are more stressed and get less sleep, they're going to be sick more frequently. We also are going to lose lean muscle mass, which we don't want that at all, building blocks of bone and cognitive functioning. So this is a huge issue. So we're going to talk about a couple micronutrients that are depleted by stress and what we can, which will then help with both stress and sleep. One of them being magnesium. I literally can't talk about magnesium enough. I take it every single day, twice a day. Helps with cognitive health, sleep, and health habits overall. So magnesium works in our body by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which then helps us be calm and relaxed. It's also part of the synthesis with the neurotransmitters for serotonin and dopamine, which are kind of our happy hormones, where we want that serotonin and dopamine to feel better. It also helps GABA, which helps us relax as we sleep. So if we have low GABA levels in our body, it makes it very difficult to relax, therefore falling asleep. So magnesium is very important in the stress response in our body. So it helps with emotional well-being, sleep, health, helps with, again, the sleeping process. It also helps with production of melatonin. Melatonin is what's going to help us sleep. So without adequate magnesium in our body, we are not going to get adequate melatonin and therefore sleep. Magnesium is the 4th most abundant mineral in our body, but most people know nothing about it. It works on over 300 enzymes. And again, and most people are deficient in it. There's different forms of it, citrate and glycinate. I have one that I use that has both of those in there because it is easier on the stomach. And so people can take it a little bit better. So some general benefits of magnesium. If you're someone who deals with head discomfort, migraine headaches, you need to use magnesium. I can't tell you enough. I had migraines the first 40 some years of my life. And when I was introduced to changing how I eat, bringing down inflammation in my body, and then magnesium, I next to never have migraines again. And so many people have migraines in the world. It was a huge part when I was in the emergency room. So if you are having leg cramps, these are some things I'm seeing more frequently. Increased stress decreases magnesium and the need for magnesium. If you are noticing leg cramps, I want you to know that this is very common. The last year is such a huge complaint that I'm hearing. Bedtime leg cramps, you need some magnesium. It's going to help with sleep. It's going to help with cognitive health. Also going to help with constipation. Constipation's another big topic. I could talk another hour on that one, using magnesium for that. So if someone comes to me and they can't sleep, they have muscle tension, leg cramps, some headaches and constipation, a lot of times those all go together. That is a key indicator that magnesium is low, and women particularly are low in magnesium. So this would be a very important one to start. Another one is vitamin B, and you saw on that list of drugs that gobble vitamins, what are big ones that are depleted? So vitamin B supplements, again, you're going to have headaches. I don't know which comes first, the chicken or the egg with stress. Stress depletes B vitamins, but low B vitamins also cause stress. So it's like a cycle. So we have to really look at keeping B supplements high in our diet. Bs are water soluble, so our body doesn't make them. We have to take those nutrients. So you really have to look at getting those in. These are some things that deplete B vitamins: alcohol, sugar, coffee, stress, exercise. Even great things that are good for our body still deplete B supplements. So we do need to get those in, taking them regularly. We also want to make sure that we're getting one that's an activated B complex. And I won't go into that, but there's something called MTHFR. Over 50% of the population has methylation issues, meaning they can't convert their B6 and their B12 and their folic acid into the active forms. So you want to make sure you take an activated B complex. So because if you're taking that in and it's not activated and your body can't convert it, you're not going to notice the difference. So again, because over 50% of the population has methylation concerns, you just want to make sure if you're taking I want you to make sure you take a B complex, not just a B6 and a B12 and a B1. B complex needs to work together. Bs are synergistic together. So taking a complex and an activated complex is going to be super beneficial for you. So that's another good one. Another one, these are the top ones to take, is vitamin D. Vitamin D is super effective. It's great if we get enough sunshine, but we necessarily don't. And we are in the winter season. And even when it's summertime, we are putting sunscreen on, which we're supposed to. We can try to get enough in food, but it is very hard. Some of the biggest things that we get them in are eggs, dairy, and fish. I would say in here where we live, not everybody eats a lot of fish. You'd have to eat tons of salmon to even get enough vitamin D. The thing is, a lot of times I'm the one telling you not to eat eggs anymore in dairy because people have a lot of food sensitivities to them. I do food sensitivity testing in my office, and it's very common for eggs and dairy to be inflammatory or reactive to people, including myself. I had to stop eggs as well. And so my vitamin D level went down because I generally had 5 or 6 eggs a day. It was my number one source of protein. And when I did that, my vitamin D went down because of that. So we may not be getting enough in, taking it in from the sun, but also the foods may not be the best for us that we aren't getting in. So just knowing that over 1 billion people in the world are vitamin D deficient. 50% of postmenopausal women have suboptimal levels, and without adequate vitamin D, we're not going to get the full absorption of our calcium that we're taking in as well. So just noting that vitamin D is very important for cognitive health, bone health, cardiovascular health, blood sugar, and immune health. People who have lower vitamin D levels, they'll complain about muscle aches, muscle pain, fatigue. Like someone can come into my office and I'm talking to them, I can almost guarantee what they're going to have a low vitamin D level. It's so common. I do a lot of speaking for different groups who do have a different, population groups with illnesses. One is a Parkinson's group that I talk with. And the thing is, I brought this up because this is prevalent for everyone. But in some studies with Parkinson's and vitamin D, it just says that low vitamin D levels can actually institute symptoms earlier in cognitive impairment and depressive symptoms. The thing is, this is not just for depression, is not just about those with Parkinson's. This is for everyone. If our vitamin D levels are too low, one of the number one things you're going to see is depression, fatigue, exhaustion, just blah. And I'll talk a little bit in the future, a couple slides about just mental health and vitamin D levels. So you want a level of 60 to 80, which is for optimal wellness. So if you get your vitamin D tested, don't let the hospital call you, like me, I would call you, and this is Nurse Julie, and your vitamin D level is good, is what they'll say. Your question is, what's my number? I want you to know what your vitamin D level is. If you come to see me, I'm going to make you call the clinic and find out. Because anything above 30 is considered normal in the lab world. 30 is to prevent rickets. That is not for optimal wellness. You need a level of 60 to 80. And I cannot rant on this enough. This is a hot topic for me because I can see people change when their vitamin D levels go up. So I recommend 5,000 to 10,000 IUs per day. Now, this will vary on different people, what your current levels are, but the demand is up. And you heard about it during the last couple of years, the need for vitamin D in our system. We do see those with like autoimmune disorders, different things. The lower their vitamin D level is, the more they struggle. Another area of supplementation is called adaptogens, and adaptogens are herbs that help kind of normalize the body. So it's not a drug, it's not a prescription, it's not even a supplement type. It's called an adaptogen, and it brings the body to even keel. If you're high or you're low, it kind of just brings you into the middle. So balancing your body, and we want balance in the body. There's several of them here, and you've probably heard some of these before. Ashwagandha is a big one. And I have to say, I am a huge advocate for a lot of these. And I will say, I was not necessarily one that took adaptogens previously. I started about 6 months ago. I wish I would have started in 2020 is all I have to say. Drastically has helped with my sleep, with my stress, with stress-induced weight gain, just all the things that people are dealing with. So you've seen lots of these, ashwagandha being a really big one. If you're interested in any recommendations on supplementation with ashwagandha, there's 2 that I use in my office. I can sure let you know. L-theanine is another big one. These are all good ones. Holy basil, but just, again, screenshot this if you're looking for supplementation to help relax. The thing is that they're not going to affect drugs at all in your system or anything in your system. So I'm going to take a little shift here. And I'm going to talk, I had asked if it was okay if I shared a little bit on suicide. And I know I apologize if this is a hot topic for someone or a difficult topic. You can mute me for a little bit, but I would feel like I wasn't doing service if I don't share this, because that's the reason why so many things happen. Makes me want to cry. Because people don't talk about things. So this part of this presentation is actually from a colleague of mine, Valerie Myers-Bitz, who is a counselor and the owner of the Kids Therapy Center. And this is part of her presentation that she does regarding children's mental health. This is no different. And she did it for a group that I belong to. It doesn't matter if it's children or adults. The reality is suicide is happening. We've had several just in the past week, and I know a lot of times the general population doesn't necessarily know it. Those of us in the health provider world, especially work in emergency medicine or a children's therapy clinic, we see it, we hear it. It's very prevalent. And so I want people to talk about it. And so this relates to both adults and to children. Number one is, I remember they just changed the suicide hotline to be more easy to remember. This was in July. It's 988. So you can easily, instead of 911, 988, put that in your memory. If you know anybody, or if it's you who just needs to talk, call that number. Always know that if you ever need to message me, email me, or I know we all have friends who would be there for us, but I know sometimes it's difficult. But know what this number is for yourself or anyone else. This is what Val is saying that they are seeing in the clinic with children. Again, this is no different with adults. So what they're seeing is depression. And whether it be just seasonal, low vitamin D, family situational, the stress from several years, I don't know. Loneliness, that was really prevalent during the midst of COVID when people weren't getting out as much. The thing is, loneliness still is a thing. And that is the number one thing she says she sees in counseling issues is people are just lonely. I think we're addicted to social media and we sit behind a computer screen. And that's another thing I would say, getting off of social media would be the best thing to do, or at least limiting social media. I think the more we're on it, the more lonely we get because we're comparing what's happening in the rest of the world. That's actually fake. It's not even real. And we take it really personal, like our life is so not compared to anybody else's. And then there's suicidal ideation where people are thinking of hurting themselves or have a plan of hurting themselves. And sometimes there may not be a plan and it happens. And I empathize with anyone recently or ever has gone through losing a loved one from suicide. I know it's happened a lot here in Bismarck lately, and I know it's happening all over. It doesn't matter. There's no one size fits all in where this is happening. People are sad. We've lost a sense of normalcy. And I don't know if that's going to go back. I don't know. I struggle with this as well as everybody else. We just, you're just kind of lost. And again, this is looking back at at what children are feeling. People are having difficulty sleeping, racing thoughts. And as Val says, stress depletes B vitamins, and B vitamins helps with serotonin and melatonin, as I had said. So the things are the same, and we're seeing a lot of anxiety. So anxiety going to school, anxiety going to work, people just in general feeling anxious and traumatized. So trauma could be from there could be in family situations, but the trauma of the last couple of years can also be triggers to people from growing up, from childhood trauma. I am very aware of all of this happening. And I want you to know that I hear you if you feel like there's a lot happening in your brain and you feel like trauma and you're wondering, why am I thinking about things from when I was a kid? Why can't I sleep? Why is all this ruminating happening? It's because of a lot of the stuff that's been happening to all of us. And so some things that we can look at is, one is gluten sensitivity can cause a neurological illness. So gluten and mood, several different topics. So for one, the first things that we do in the clinic when working with kids, and now I also work with this in my adult practice, but this is very prevalent in kind of like the mental health world. And when I say mental health world, I'm just meaning somebody feeling down, blue, sad, anxious. But gluten can cause inflammation in the body, which is why earlier when I talked taking out grains from the diet, things like that, because for one, it causes weight gain and it causes you not to feel well, bloated, but it also works on our brain. And there's a huge gut-brain connection that happens. So keeping gluten out of our diet. As I talked, this is Val's words here, but as I said, many medications, as I showed you, deplete B supplements. And for kids being on prescriptions, there's no long-term known use of these. So if you can have safer options for kids would be better for that. Again, the gut-brain connection is very, very big. We really have to work on the gut to keep our mental health good. And then serotonin levels, and that's why when I was talking about magnesium and things, there are natural ways for us to keep our serotonin levels up so we can feel better. And some of this, that's why supplementation, eating better, all of these are good. Exercise are all good things. As I said, stress depletes vitamins, but vitamins, B supplements help with our stress. So what do we do in all this? I wish I had a magic answer for this topic. What I do know is we just need to be there for each other and just do little steps for our own self-care. One is, diet and nutraceuticals. I'll talk about those therapies. If you feel like you need to see a counselor, please find one. If you need to find one that's not in the local area, I can assist a little bit in that because I have sought them out. where I don't live, so I can help with that too. Parent support for children or finding support for yourself as an adult. Exercise is super important. And so they have all kinds of trauma therapy at the clinic, all things for kids. And if you are a provider in areas, just assessing for suicide, if that is part of your job in your everyday world. Again, remember 988 is the National Suicide Hotline number. This is offered at the Kids Therapy Center. They're food for mood classes for parents and for kids. They actually can be covered by insurance. So if you're interested at all, it's thekidstherapycenter.com. And I think I might have the number at the bottom there. Yep, the bottom number is there. I do refer a lot of people to the classes here. One big one being that because it is covered by insurance. So that's a good thing. So if you're interested in learning more, because you have kids, it'll help. How does food affect our mood, keeping our blood sugar stable? I do some of the same things in adult education, but these are a little bit more targeted into the kids. Here's some of the supplementation that Val talks about, and you're going to find they're very similar to what I already talked about, but just a couple more. Omegas benefit immensely with depression and mood disorders. Folic acid helps with battling depression, and these are some of the studies. Selenium is very beneficial in negative mood swings. Zinc, super helpful for depression and mood disorders. You heard a lot about zinc over the last couple of years. It's very beneficial for more than just antiviral health. And then magnesium, as I already talked about, is very important. So these are some of the things that she starts with the kids up to like age 18 in that topic, similar to the ones that we're talking about. B complex is a very big one. They pretty much start everybody on B complex because of all the benefits that we already talked about. If you're looking for something a little bit more detoxifying for the system, because a lot of times we're toxic. Turmeric there's a study that was shown that turmeric is as effective as Prozac without the side effects and helps with serotonin and dopamine levels. So this is a big one used in neurological health. And I'm never saying don't take prescriptions. I'm not saying that, but because prescriptions save lives, but just knowing with every prescription, there is a side effect that goes with that. And if we can prevent those side effects from happening, that might be a benefit to us, and people are more compliant. With it, the kids that I've seen at the Kids Therapy Center that I do wellness with their families, it is very rewarding to see an improvement in health and the children feeling better by using vitamin D and using magnesium. It's so rewarding. And vitamin D levels, as I said earlier, how important it is, but lower vitamin D levels it's as a common seen with suicidal patients. 58% of suicide attempters had vitamin D deficiency. I can't stress enough having good vitamin D levels. In the past, I was one who said, just start vitamin D because you're low. And I still agree with that. I still say start vitamin D because you're low. But I have kind of shifted to, I would recommend probably getting tested too, because sometimes the vitamin D we're taking may not be absorbing. There's different reasons for absorption. So I also am an advocate of having your vitamin D tested. I do it at my office for less cost. I do not take insurance at Step Wellness, but I do HSA flex benefits, but I have a lower cost. So you're not paying as much if you went into the clinic, because I do want people to know what their vitamin D is. Exercise is beneficial for children, just like it is for adults, and meditation, mindful breathing, yoga. There is in Bismarck, at the Kids Therapy Center, they have trauma yoga. Again, that is covered by insurance as well. So if you live in the local area where I am, you can let me know and I can get you referred to some of those things. So just knowing there's not one thing. It is really a lifestyle changes that we have to do to help us stay healthy through the holidays. So that's why I said in the beginning, it's not just about the holidays. It is about every day and how we are going to survive through it. We have to learn how to handle stress, and we do have to take the time to learn the adaptive mechanisms, how we're going to deal with it, finding the right people around us, using supplementation. It's been life-saving for people. Eating better, eating more regularly is going to be very beneficial. Make sure to take a break. Make sure to get exercise. That includes sex. I know it's funny, but it's a real thing. Learn to say no. Eat well. Take your vitamins. Drink lots of water, and ask for help if you need it. So remember, exercise, laughter is the best medicine. Hang around with people that you can make you laugh. I actually was just in a healing retreat this weekend, and they had laughter yoga. And I was like, I've never heard of this, but it was the best thing. We just laughed and laughed and laughed, and it was wonderful. I always have to throw this one in here, just a little diet tip. If you don't wear any pants, they won't get too tight. So it's a great way. It works well in Zoom world, at least. So a great way to do it. And if you can do nothing else, get a good night's sleep, because sleep is going to always make things a little bit better. It's like, when in doubt, just go to sleep. So the quest for the perfect holiday it's not a real thing. So if you want to reduce your stress level during this time of year, strive not for perfection, but for peace, acceptance, and fun. Remember that it isn't the day or the amount of money you spend that makes the holiday. It is okay to make mistakes and not be perfect and have everything pretty like it is on, the whatever channel on TV. If you surround yourself with good and decent people and take care of the little things, the big things can be taken in stride. Here again is the information for our Health Through the Holidays. We'll be meeting Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. via Zoom, so you can join from anywhere. The topics, we'll be doing a lot of label reading, a lot of support, talk about some exercise. I'm really big on label reading. I like people to know what's in food so you can make the best educated choice for your family. So I'm very much an advocate of that. We'll talk about that. I also do offer free wellness consult. It doesn't matter if you're in person or via Zoom, like local or not, does not matter. You can email me at this, email me or text me, but email me, let me know you were part of this presentation today, and we can schedule a free wellness consult if you just want to know anything just to be healthier, kind of going from there. So thank you for allowing me to share today. If there's any questions, you can jump on and I can sure answer any questions that you have.
Does anybody have any questions? There were a couple comments earlier about protein bars and wishing they would taste better and things like that.
Oh, shoot. Some of the protein bars that I know are the Rev Raw, REV Raw. You can order them online. I think they taste good. They're actually a vegan one. So I'm not a vegan myself, but I don't eat dairy as best as I can because of the food sensitivities I have. So I usually search for a vegan bar. So Rev Raw is a good one. And then Quest bars are good. And I've read the labels and all of them. I'm like the freaky label reader person in the store. So yeah, Quest is another good one. I have to think about some more, but those are the good ones that I know of.
Are there any, so this is a question for me, as far as like over-the-counter vitamins that you can buy at Walmart or whatever, is there a brand that you would recommend, or
Not just a blanket statement. No, there's not. I would have to read the label of that. And that is a very good question. So just reading the label when there's in supplementation, pills overall are generally harder to digest than a liquid. So just in general, it doesn't mean all of them. Look at the labels to make sure that they don't have any dyes in them. So like red dye number 40, it doesn't need to be a nice purple color. You don't need that. Make sure it doesn't have any talc in it. So pills have to hold together somehow. So talc is going to cause a lot of constipation. So I always say we can take a lot of pills in and we can poop a lot of pills out. So we want to take something that absorbs. I think you're better off if you're going to buy from a store like that, going to natural grocers would be better than like Walmart. So just kind of knowing a pharmacy area or like Dakota pharmacy. We haven't been, I'm sure all towns you have like some pharmacy setting, they would have higher quality supplementation than like Walmart would. Things like that. When it's like buy one jug for a year and they get the second jug for free, that's never a good thing. So you do have, supplementation, it is very important. You don't want the cheapest one, but you don't have to have the most expensive one either. You have to look at delivery system. And so some of the ones that I use, there's some in capsules that I use. The isotonic formulation is another one that I use in my office. And there's some sprays for under the tongue that are sublingual. Those will be better. And if you're using gummies, you have to read the label because some will add tons of sugar to them. Others won't. So that's kind of Gummies are like one of the #1 moving up in the world of sales for supplementation, because people are looking for ease of supplementation, and gummies are an easy thing, but you have to be careful because there's a lot of sugars added to them. So, and if you ever have a question on labels, feel free to email me. I read so many labels, I can't tell you. I get the random people texting me to read a label, and I love it because I'm very passionate on it, because I want you to take home what is going to be the best for you. Because when people spend money on any kind of supplementation, you want it to work for you. That's why you spent the money. So I want you to get the best that you can for yourself.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Oh, I said, oh, here, I'm seeing some in the, oh, you can cut your hair short. Yes, you can. Protein bars. Let's see, protein bars. Yes. It's because the protein bars are killing me. Yes. Which bars are you guys talking about? I'm kind of curious. Do I consume any grains? Next to never. And I will tell you, if you'd have told me in 2010 that I would not be eating grains on a regular basis, I would have told you you're nuts, because I didn't know that you could live without eating bread. I thought that that's what you ate, because that's what I ate, until I took a low glycemic lifestyle class in January of 2011, and we had to eliminate grains for the time, and my health drastically changed. My body fat went down. I lost 3 inches off my waist. I lost 22 pounds. But biggest was my overall inflammation. My body went down. I'm a very inflammatory person, as a lot of people are. I mean, a lot of us are. And when I realized how good I felt, and that's why I sometimes say, you don't know how good you can feel until you feel that good. And then you're like, why would I want to eat something that doesn't make me feel good? But you have to go through that journey a little bit. It's not like overnight it's going to happen. There's a process of cleansing the palate, which is why I do a cleanse week 1 of my classes, cleansing the palate, things like that. So it's very, you'll get there, and not everybody needs to eliminate all grains. Not everybody does. But if you're carb sensitive, which a lot of people are, and I am one of them, but I didn't know that. You'll learn it. And so, do I consume any bread or pasta? I do not eat pasta at all. No, I do not. I will be bloated from heck. Bread, next to never. Like it's there. It would have to be a homemade bread by my son or something that would be super clean and made with love, because I probably won't feel good. And so, no, it's next to never. So maybe I should start doing that though. I should be your hired personal shopper label reader person. I do love reading me a good label. So just remember, protein and fiber, eat lots of vegetables, and let's see, rice, white or brown. Rice, brown rice is going to be better. Basmati rice is going to be better. Basmati rice is probably one of the best one, or long grain rice is going to be a good one. So if anybody wants like a menu plan that I have that has listed the grains on there, if you're like, I'm going to eat grains no matter what Julie says, but what would be the better ones that I would eat? Send me an email and I can send you a continued commitment one that has like the best options for grains on there. Thanks for these messages in here. This is good. Okay. And send a printout of all your vitamins. So Darla, I can send, let's see, once. Oh gosh, I have so many. It would be easier if, Darla, if you sent me an email of what I'm not gonna say what concerns you, but what would you like to improve? Like, is it health? Is it energy? Is it just feeling better? Anything, and I can give you, because there's a broad range of supplementation. So I would prefer to customize in a little bit in that answer. So if you want to send me an email at julie@stepwellness.com, we can connect then, and I can give you a more customized plan, because I feel like I would overwhelm if I send somebody all the supplementation that's available, because it's pretty broad. And really, most of us just need a little bit. It's just what works best for us. Okay, I think I might have gotten all the answers in there. I appreciate those in here.
Thank you so much, Julie, for taking time out to present to us again. Again, for those of you that are needing certificates, please email Marilyn. Also be on the lookout for the email containing the PowerPoint and it'll either come with the Zooming from the recording or the survey. And then please take time to fill out that survey. All feedback is welcome. And next week we have Department of Labor presenting on service animals. So hope you all can join us
Yes.
next week. And thank you again, Julie.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking me. I do greatly appreciate it. And I do appreciate the honor of getting to share with you.
Yes, and hope everybody stays warm and ready for this supposedly blizzard we're supposed to be having. So
Hunker down, as we
hunker
say.
down. So, thanks again, and hope everybody has a good day.
Bye. Thank you. Happy holidays, everybody.